Hello,
Time
Grace.
travel.
Grace Chow.
Hello, thanks for having me.
It's great to talk to you. I've got to ask you a little bit before we start. You're an emerging actor and writer, and we're going to go through all that. But your heritage and a little bit about your background. Have you always lived over in WA? Was that where you were born, and your family?
So I actually was born in Singapore, and my mum's Taiwanese, my father is Singaporean. I grew up in country WA, so rural, very rural. I'm talking like five people my age. You
Oh,
know, like don't pick your friends, but they're all lovely. Really small country town.
yeah.
And yeah, then I grew up and I kind of am based out of Perth now. So that's pretty awesome. Yeah, was that all the questions that were, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's all the questions. But growing up in a small town, what drove you to acting? Were you watching movies on TV or were you reading a lot? Like, tell me how that all
Yeah.
began.
Yeah, I mean, I did it all. I think when you're growing up in a rural town and your internet is dial up, and yeah, like one I have a sibling and she was on the computer, then you couldn't be on the computer, and we shared a phone line with the local hospital. So
Oh,
if that, yeah, we shared a dial-up connection, I think. So if there was too much going on there, then you couldn't get online. So we spent a lot of time, pursuing creative things, cooking, painting. Sometimes you would write something. Yeah. And I would always do little bits in the mirror. I think a lot of actors start out doing that when they're
yeah,
little, playing make believe. So yeah, in that sense, I got a lot of creative like playtime growing up. And it wasn't until high school, because of course in the country they really value sports.
of
So
course. Yeah,
yeah, I grew up playing a lot of field hockey, and then when I went to boarding school, I in Perth was playing field hockey, and then at the same time that this thing called field hockey was going on, this other thing called like the High School Musical was happening,
ah,
and all of my friends went and they wanted to audition for the Three Musketeers, and it was an 8, 9, 10 play. I remember, so year 8, 9, 10,
yep.
and I ended up just auditioned as kind of like, oh, my friends are doing this thing, I'll go. I guess you can like hold a fake sword, and was cast as the Cardinal, which of course is the big mean scary guy with the red cap, and
Yeah, the villain, basically.
yeah, the villain. That's right. I was the only year 8 in the show. So I was,
Oh,
tiny. I was the world's tiniest cardinal. I forget, it's these really tall musketeers, and I guess that's where it started. There was a drama teacher
yeah.
who just went, oh, you got something, and so yeah, kept doing it.
Well, thank goodness for that drama teacher because you do have something. And
Oh,
you said it, not me. You were tiny and short. Like, how tall are you?
I'm 160 centimeters now, so I think that's
All right.
it's on the shorter end of average.
True, true, true.
Yeah, yeah. Like I don't think it stops me getting roles, but there's certainly a height discrepancy usually. Yeah.
Now, you're a recipient of a recent Rising Star Award. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, again, I'll say it. I already think you're a star. You're definitely
Oh, thank
rising fast. And how did that make you feel to be picked? I mean, I know you've probably spoken about it a few times, but now it's sort of settled down and it's there. You
you.
are a rising star. People acknowledge that.
Oh, thank you. Well, thank you for that acknowledgement as well. It felt really affirming. I mean, so much of the industry nowadays with auditioning is you're just in your room, and like I have my self-tape set up back here. You
Self
send it, you
tapes,
yeah,
so
you
many.
record and you send in, you don't go in anymore. And so
Mm,
you don't get that direct feedback from casting directors. And sometimes you get like a really lovely email or a really lovely phone call or whatever. But for the
yeah.
most part, it's quite solitary when you're auditioning. And so to have the casting guild and these casting directors kind of go, oh, we are watching, in a really like lovely public way, platform you. It felt really, really affirming and very encouraging, especially because there was so many other great like emerging talent. Yeah.
Sure. I definitely think it's a collective. I think in Australia we are blessed with
Mm,
emerging talent. It's just great. You're
mm,
part of a really solid mix of people coming through TV, commercials, feature
mhm,
film, theatre, whatever it might be. You're part of it.
mm, 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 mm. Oh yeah, yeah. An exciting time, I think, to be emerging in the
I,
film world. Yeah,
I think so. You're also in an Australian magazine called Who Weekly.
yeah.
Little bit of
That was
model,
so cool.
a little bit of modeling. I've got to say,
Yeah.
it looks striking. Did it come naturally? Was the modeling natural for you?
It was kind of like acting. I mean, I just was like, pretend you're a model. Just acting like one for a day. Yeah. So
Yeah,
in that sense, it felt natural because I felt like I was just acting.
yeah.
And you're just serving a different emotion, and you got to pretend to be, I just was just like, just pretend you're Zendaya. And so yeah, it was really fun. Oh, that was so fun. I mean, I went the day that it came out. I ran down to my local news agency. I was like, I just want to see it. And it hadn't come through yet. They're like, oh, yeah, it's coming in tomorrow. And I was like, okay, I'll come back tomorrow. And they're like, who's this woman who's so desperate to see the Who Weekly?
And
Yeah.
did you buy the whole news agency out? How many copies did you buy?
I think there was just one copy when I walked in. So I went, oh, thank you. That's mine.
Fair enough. And is there much difference between modeling and acting? Not really. You sort of said, you were pretending to be
Hmm.
Zendaya,
Hmm.
but
Yeah.
would it be something you'd pursue a bit more of, maybe?
Oh, I would love to do that. It's a really, I think it's an adjacent world to acting, right? They have similar models to like you get the agent and then you do the thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's a whole different world. I mean, I wouldn't be so like cocky as to say, yeah, I'd love to do that and I could just fit in and da, 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 da. Yeah, and be like, yeah, it's exactly the same as acting because I'm sure a lot of career models would say very different. But I had some wonderful conversations with the glam team in the room. I was like, what's the difference between working with actors and models, and how do they approach their job differently? And really interestingly, they were like, oh yeah, actors tend to want to vibe out the look and what story they're going for, to tell through the imagery.
Ah, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
and not to say that models don't do that, but their models are really good at kind of showcasing the pieces that they're wearing. And so yeah, a lot. I have a lot of admiration for actors and models. I think their practices are similar, but they approach things really differently.
What about the hair, makeup people? Were they
Yeah,
different to the ones you deal with on set as opposed to a modeling?
I think a lot of them, not
Maybe
to
they
speak
cross
for,
over.
yeah, yeah, not to speak for that industry, but I do think a lot of them work across many different mediums. I mean, I guess the higher up you go, maybe over east, when the market is so saturated, you tend to like, specialize in terms of one form. But yeah, for the most part in WA, I think a lot of makeup artists, hairstylists, they do shoots as well as like film shoots as well as
Yeah.
campaigns or whatever. And so the experience is similar. And it's so fun. You get your makeup done, you get your hair done. It is very similar. You sit in the chair and you have a gossip. It's really lovely.
Oh no, I'm really glad that you can always fall back on that potentially, but not that you're going to have to. Now,
So nice of you to say.
I'm manifesting it for you.
Oh,
Success.
thank you, Shane.
You know that.
You
Uh,
as well. That Christmas top is great.
Oh, yeah, thank you. I was thinking of not bringing it up, but I will. I wore it just for
Mhm.
you. I love
Mm-mm-mm.
Star Wars, and yeah, it's Christmas at the time of talking to Grace. It's now very like early to mid-December, and
Mhm.
coming up to Christmas. Well, seeing we're speaking of Christmas, what are you up to? Are you staying
This
over in
Christmas.
WA?
Yes, I am. My partner is Italian, so they do
Oh, cool.
Christmas pretty big.
Yeah.
They love Christmas, so we usually spend Christmas with his family, and
Yeah.
they go big. So it's a pretty exciting time. Yeah, what are you
Unreal.
doing for Christmas? Let me know what you're doing.
Oh, look, I won't be doing much. I live right near the beach. It's only just over
Mm.
here. So I'll be going surfing and just doing a few things
Oh.
But I'll be staying on air, like both TV and radio, due to award season coming up,
Yeah,
reporting on that, and the blockbusters, New
yeah.
Year and Boxing Day. So I kind of probably won't get a holiday or a bit of a break until maybe Easter or after Easter,
Mhm.
which is fine. Yeah,
Oh, that's going to be so exciting. I didn't know you surfed. That's really cool.
I do. I live right near the beach, and I grew up here. And I mean, I don't surf as much as I used to, but I was
Mm,
watching movies and surfing as a kid. That they were my two
yeah.
passions. Yeah.
Oh, that's like they're good fun hobbies to have when when you're
And then all the writing and the reading and the reporting like this came afterwards, but it's all linked. It's
Mm,
all linked, I guess.
mm,
I never played
mm.
field hockey like you, though.
Oh yeah. I mean, I also loved to watch movies when I was younger. It's just like yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
very much a
And
fun thing to do.
and one last thing on surfing. Can you surf? Have you ever surfed?
Absolutely not.
Okay. No balance?
No. Um, I I've always wanted to learn.
Yeah.
And I think I had an opportunity on a school camp to learn at one point. But you just kind of got assigned a board, and I was given. So, like I said, I was tiny, and I was
Yeah.
given the world's biggest surfboard, and I was like
Oh
lugging it
no. Well, see,
around on the
that's
beach.
wrong. You shouldn't have been.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember at one point, we were trying to catch waves or the whitewash or whatever, and I
Yeah.
just the process of having to drag the board back to
I
set
get
it
it.
up. It was so heavy for me. I think it just scarred me for life. I sat in the water and I was just like, this is it. This board is too heavy. I've given up. I would love to try again. I think I just need the correct surfboard size.
Yeah. I'll hook you up because you need buoyancy. You need
Yeah.
a board that's up on the water when you're learning, and
Uh-huh.
the best fun is learning because you're falling off, you're diving into the water, getting
Mm,
back up again. But yeah, going in and out of that whitewash isn't fun when you're learning.
yeah.
It's not fun when you know how to do it because it can be a struggle. But
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like, I grew up and I loved ripsticking and I loved rollerblading. So I think there's a part of me that really would very enjoy it. I just haven't had the opportunity or
yeah,
yeah, sort it out again, I guess.
I'll talk a little bit about your screen acting shortly, but I want to touch on the A to Z of Missing Persons Australia. Now, we had a little bit of a
Mm,
chat off air about it. It was very well regarded. It was a big deal to you. It meant a lot
mhm.
to a lot of different people. Just describe it, how it came about and the reactions you got. Because I mean, pretty great to know that you'd done
Mm.
something like this.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I guess so. The A to Z of Missing Persons Australia was a piece that was made with the WA Youth Theatre Company because over 50% of people who go missing in Australia, 55,000 every year, rising since COVID, are youth related. So a lot of those cases are youth related. So it was a really good fit.
Yeah,
My project, me as an artist, and also this ensemble of young people, we consulted the missing persons community. We talked to a search mission controller whose job at the WA Police was to look for missing people. We talked to Lauren O'Keefe, who founded the Miss Foundation. She alone basically supports 80 families across Australia with their missing
yeah,
loved ones. Yeah, and
yeah.
they're not government funded. So if you're watching and you want to donate, yeah, that would be fantastic. And yeah, we talked to some mental health workers who also had people in their lives go missing. The director of the piece had someone in her life go missing. So it was really a work that came out of
Oh,
that community. And the reason it was called A to Z was because we platformed all the cases in the Australian Federal Police database. And it was an experimental work, and it ended up meaning a lot to the local missing persons community in
yeah.
Australia. We had people writing in saying how much it really meant to them. Family members of missing people in WA came to the show. The founder of National Missing Persons Week. All of this was very organic. Like we
Yeah.
made it in collaboration with that community, but them coming and attending the show, because obviously everyone grieves differently with ambiguous loss, and so we weren't
Sure.
sure
Yeah.
whether they would want to come. It ended up being very healing for them.
Yeah.
And they took lots of photos and they sent it to their loved ones, and it was really lovely.
Oh,
Yeah, it was a case where I was like, yeah, go ahead and take photos during the show. Use your phones. Like, it means a lot to you. I don't mind you having that memory. So yeah, it ended up being a really beautiful experience. It being experimental, I think that some people really struggle with that form, but
Sure.
the most important part of, you know, making work is that you make as an artist the work that you want to make. And for
Yeah.
me, that particular experimental form fit the complexity of the content so well, and that
Mm,
community, and they were really grateful for that. I think they
yeah.
were very grateful that we didn't go for the whole like you know, like true crime,
Yeah.
5 act story, what's going to happen, and
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
resolves really resolutely, because that's not the nature of Missing Persons Australia.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that was really fantastic. Yeah.
It's so good that the response you got, and experimental, not everyone's going to like that, but I feel that it would have been perfect for this, to just get the message across as well, and
Yes.
inclusion.
Yes. The only rubric I had for that work was that it would depict the family's experience accurately,
Yeah.
and it would mean it would be a positive impact in their life and for their mission to find their loved ones.
Yeah.
And that was achieved. And that's all that really means very much a lot to me. And yeah, it's really interesting though, because I have my other play that I wrote, The Promised Land. So that won the Griffin Award in 2022. That was also experimental, and I'm
Okay.
in a phase in my life now that I studied theatre making, and
Yeah.
from there I began in story, and I graduated, and I was really excited by a lot of these experimental ideas that you engage with in the tertiary setting. And then I made a lot of experimental work. And now I
Yeah.
think I'm in a place in my life where I'm about to return back to story. So I really want to, I think I made a lot of niche work, and very complex niche, accurate work, precise
Mm,
work
mm,
for certain communities that I
mm,
wanted to advocate for or explore. And
mm.
now I'm really keen to connect with, the wider general public audience, and tell stories that really brings people together. So yeah, I have a commission coming out with Black Swan next year, which is the state theatre company here in
So
WA,
good.
and that's story based, which
Uh,
yeah, I'm excited to do again. Yeah.
are you starring in it, or you can't give me that information yet?
You know what? It's a couple of years away from, so like when you develop at work, it takes some
Sure.
time.
Okay.
So at
Yeah.
this point, there's an idea that maybe I might embody the story,
Yep.
because it is a one-woman show.
Ah.
However,
Cool.
yeah, it kind of, at this moment, I want to just make it purely from the lens of I'm the writer, so I can do it as best as I possibly can.
Yeah.
And if the character becomes right for me, then yeah. And also, you just never know with theatre is a slow making process,
Okay.
whereas TV is very fast. And so
Yeah.
sometimes, like I feel like with theatre, you bring this baby for so long, and then sometimes film is like now, go fly, 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 and so you just never know what you're going to be doing in the future.
No, that's great. I mean, a chamber piece or a one woman show, or even like a
Mm,
two-hander, they're intriguing, and it all comes
mm.
down to the writing.
Yes.
90% of it. I mean, you need a good actor as well.
Oh, yes. It's the
But
blueprint. It's the blueprint. It's your foundation to bring
yeah,
anything
yeah,
alive. Yeah.
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 Can't wait. I'll see you in 2 years.
Yeah. See you in 2 years.
Uh, I know. This is a question. I don't know how you're going to answer it. Are you a natural actor? I mean,
Ooh.
was there difficulties to get where you were? I mean, besides maybe hurdles or personal hurdles, but
Mm.
did you naturally get it straight away when it came to acting? Did it just click, or have you been working on it?
I think we're all kind of natural actors. In some way. We all code switch around different
Instinctive.
people.
People can be instinctive. That's true.
That's right. That's
Yeah,
right. I think that being someone who grew up in a lot of different spheres of, like duality and culture and stuff, I
yeah,
was really good at code switching, and so I think that lent itself to acting at a young age. I think I was a natural actor,
yeah.
but I think as I went through my teenage years, I kind of learned to be too cool or too shy, or so then it became a little bit about, in during my training, unlearning that self-awareness that makes you go, no, that's embarrassing, I don't want to do that. um and now I've been so lucky. I've worked with such fantastic established actors who just pardon my language, they just they don't give a fuck. They just, they go for it. And they make these huge choices. And so I really feel like I've been able to reclaim that sense of childhood wonder around playing pretend and making those really huge choices in a room. But yeah, I think I was a natural, but I think training was so integral to the actor I am today.
Yeah, it'll shape. I mean, you can be natural, but it can shape, how you are as a person as well at times.
Yeah. And also, there were really challenging roles I did during my time in drama school that really stretched my range and my practice. I mean, I had to play it was something like a 1,000-year-old crone who was the embodiment of postnatal depression, who was also a monster. So it was a show about a shape-shifting monster. It was a Carol Churchill play. Yep. And she was under a blanket the whole time, so I had to communicate all this information while being under a blanket, while being outside, no mic, just like using the power of your voice and
projected voice.
Yeah, and all that, learning that technique. And I played some crazy characters, some really like dark villains, and also like I once played an intergalactic space princess, so I feel like I was really stretched during drama school, and I'm very grateful for those roles and those teachers.
How do you recognize your lines? How do you recall them and memorize them? Have you got a routine? Is there something that you do?
You know what? It's different every time. I think that it's actually just very easy. I don't really think about it. I wonder what my process is around that. I do think that I approach TV and stage very differently. I think that with TV, everything's happening so fast. You just learn them. And with theatre, because you have a month to rehearse with people, I like to take it really slowly. I'll get off book pretty quickly, but I will not make any choices because I know that I have a month to find the perfect choice. We could go through 50 different ways of saying a line, and then find the 50 different ways that my character relates to your character and the way that you're going to serve that back in this tennis match. And that's so exciting to me. I like to take it slow because you making a choice early also locks them into a choice. And you don't, I just love, it's so delicious. I take that process very slowly.
Do you study the character traits? I mean, I know you just said it's a slow process for you, but whatever, I know every individual character and role that you would play would be different, but do you study any traits or throw in or make suggestions to the director or anything that you might think that they want?
I think it's different every time. That's truly the answer that I'm going to give. Sometimes with new work, you become the first embodiment of that character, and you can afford to make really big choices, or you're still developing the text. Sometimes the writer's still in the room, so you could just say, oh well, what if this character is really in love with XYZ, or if she has always yearned to leave, or maybe she's just really hungry right now, like all these choices. And with more established texts, I like to go through and, in a more concrete way, I'll write down everything that my character says about myself, what other characters say about my character. And sometimes, I can be an actor who over prepares. So me not looking too deeply in the text helps me find the character when I'm in motion, which is just so exciting because the possibilities are more endless than our brains want to make sense of things. But in TV, it really is just like I think that you come to set with the character prepared because you're in charge. You're not in theatre, I think that you as a collective find everyone's characters together for a month before you even hit the stage. And then you have 2 more months of doing the show together. you know, find the character. And that's really exciting. That's the process. But in TV, it's like in the audition room, it's almost like you have to find the character in order for them to cast you. So you make a lot of big decisions earlier on. This is my version
Yeah.
of who I think I am. Yeah.
Grace, I just couldn't imagine you over preparing anything. You seem so quiet, and you know, like you hold
So
back.
shy, so reserved.
No,
Shouldn't talk
over
at all.
preparing's that. No, your time management and over preparing, nothing wrong with that. That'll get you places. That's good, I think.
Oh, thank you.
This could be a little difficult. This question: have you had any roadblocks, any hurdles due
Oh,
to
mhm.
race, due to heritage, due to just people being how they shouldn't be? I mean, I know that
Mm,
things have changed, and I love that. I really do.
mm,
But have you personally just, you know, had
mm.
any
There have
incidents?
been some really tough experiences
Okay.
in relation to my heritage in this industry.
Yeah.
I never let them get me down though, because
No.
then that lets them win. For the most part, other than just the general obstacles that many actors face, which are, you know, a lot in this industry, it's very competitive.
Yeah.
For the most part, it's been a really wonderful, positive experience. I think a lot of the experiences I have had have not been as intense or as like consistently overtly aggressive as, you know, my predecessors. I think there's been some fabulous advocacy in the industry to change
Oh
things.
yeah. Oh yeah.
But yeah, I've had experiences where it's like, you know, it's opening night, and for the whole time I've been like, oh, you've put me in Vietnamese clothes, and I'm not Vietnamese, and this character is not Vietnamese.
Mm,
And you're, you know, this designer is the whole, you know, it's an Asian Australian story, but the whole creative team is white. And that was not communicated to me. And some
mm,
actors are being penalized for being ESL, even though the character
yeah.
they're playing as ESL. Like, there should have been more consultation and support in the room, and there should just never be, you know, that sort of thing when that's the character and that's who you're casting and that's your choice. So it's your responsibility as the production company to look after these actors. So I've had some really challenging moments where I've had to really advocate for my right to be in the room. I think that a big one in film and TV is that uh, the way that the industry is viewing like Asian Australians,
Right.
like the way people view Asian Australians in Australia, then reflect casting in the screen.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's changing now because, you know, we're about to have an Asian Australian Bridgerton lead, and we're about to have, you know, like Anna Sawai just won the Emmy, and she's up for, you know, a Golden Globe, right? And so I think that the because of those examples in casting, um I
Yeah.
think that the industry is changing the way they think about Asian American, Asian Australian women in particular, that they can lead a series. Whereas before, I
Yeah.
think they were hesitant. I think they were really hesitant, and I think the quality of the auditions that are now coming in, for me, yeah, it reflects the change in taste, even though we've always known that we could lead.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, no, thank you. I'm glad to hear that you're
Mm.
okay. And it was, you know, you're coming through it because it's so difficult to think it's this sort of stuff still happens. I mean,
I know.
uh,
Yeah, yeah.
anyway, anyway, okay. So, Cindy, was it Mystery Road? That was your
Yes,
character?
yes.
The buzz cut. I love the hair.
Oh yeah, I love the buzz cut.
The hair
Yeah.
was amazing. Was that your choice? I mean, you should do it again sometime. It really suited you.
Oh, thank you. I actually was making a show at the time when I was cast where
Yeah.
I played like a ravenous human girl cat hybrid, and I thought it would look so cool if I shaved my head, and I'd always wanted to do it. So I was like, I'm just gonna do it. So then well, actually, the story goes, I wasn't brave enough to shave my head just yet. So I went home to my housemates and I said,
Yeah.
I want a bob. Can you guys help me cut a bob? I just want it now. I'm very like fickle with my hair, and I was just like fickle
Oh, I
that
can
night.
see where this is going. I can
Yeah, and
see.
they were like, not really, like we can't be bothered. They're just like watching RuPaul on the TV. And then I was like, okay, but would you help me if I shaved my head? And then they're like, yeah, that's really fun. Let's do that. And so then we were in the bathroom and they're going, and it's just like someone's, beard shaver.
Yeah,
And
right.
I was
Yeah.
like, wow, this is what my head shape looks like. Oh, it was winter. My head was so cold. And then I just started growing it out. Maybe it was like this long. And
Yeah,
then I got cast for Mystery Road.
yeah.
And Dylan River, the director, was like, I would love it if you could shave your head again. And I was like, you know what? Let's do it. But if you're making me shave my head, I want tattoos. I want, I just want to look tough.
Yeah.
But
The
of course
big hat, the big hat looked good.
yeah, they put it over the shaved head, so you couldn't even see it. Yeah,
That's
that
true.
was such an exciting role. Yeah.
Would you say that's one of the big stepping stone for you in roles?
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. I think yeah, it opened the gate. It
Mm,
opened the gate for me. I mean, you, with film and TV, right, you just need that first credit for them to trust that they can cast you.
yeah.
And that's always the trickiest to get. And yeah, I really do think that Dylan just went, she's got a shaped head. That's really cool. Go with it. And that opportunity to play a series regular in one of Australia's most, critically acclaimed shows at the time,
Yeah.
truly did open the door, because from then on people weren't afraid to cast me. Yeah.
No.
Mhm.
And next up, I'll ask you a little bit about the 12, which is
Yeah.
an ongoing series and very heavy emotionally.
Mhm.
I think it was Wendy. You played Wendy in
Yeah.
that. I mean, how did you get cast? I mean, Mystery Road's one thing, but the 12 is almost like a step up as
Mm.
well. How did you get cast in that? And it
Mm.
was a reoccurring character, so a big deal.
Yeah, yeah, that was such a joy to do. I mean, I'd never oh, that's not true. I think it was maybe the second time I'd been cast in a show, stage or TV, where I got to play in a family. That was really special, because then you get to meet a lot of other Asian Australian actors, and
Yeah,
kind of like connect with them. And of
yeah.
course, they're over east, and so you get to meet them. I got cast through McGregor's. It was very stock standard. I had an audition come through. They were only exclusively casting through this new platform that no one had ever heard of, and so that was
Okay.
now Altai, and people have it. And
Yeah.
we had to download to like download a new app and like
I
create a new
remember that. I
profile.
remember that when it came out, and it kind of caused a ripple effect because not everyone knew it or wanted to use it at
Mm.
first.
That's
Yeah,
right. That's right. I love it. It gives more power to the actor, I think, and it also looks really sleek, and it just gives you more real time feedback. Like, you're not being considered anymore. You are, because so much of
yeah.
waiting can weigh on you. But yeah. So I submitted a self tape, and I actually had like 3 or 4 takes that I really liked, and I was really indecisive. And I think I sent like a couple to my agent, and she was like, "Go with this one." So I uploaded that one, and then like 2 days later, because our Thai, you can just kind of keep uploading things, whereas the
Sure.
other the other things you can't. So a week would pass, and I thought, oh, they haven't gotten back to me. I'll just upload the other one, and maybe they'll see that, and they'll, it'll just like jog their memory or whatever. And so then, as time went on, I just kept uploading, being like, okay, but this one shows more emotional. Like maybe they're waiting for that. So that I just can just get really antsy as an actor. And
Again, over prepared, Grace.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Overthinking.
Yeah, yeah. And I love the work. For me, it's about the process. I love the work. And
Mhm.
obviously connecting at the end of it with the audience is fantastic. I do. I love my craft. And yeah, eventually they got back and they were like, yeah, we'd love to offer the role of Wendy. And I was just in my bed and I got a call. I was like so excited. And my agent was very coolly like, yeah, like, good job, Dal. And she hung up. And then like I was like, that was really weird. And she called me back later. She was like, someone was in my office. I was just trying to play it cool.
Yeah,
She
yeah,
got
yeah.
really excited. And so that was really exciting for us. Yeah.
I know it's got a great cast, but I've had
Mm,
the chance to interview Sam Neill a couple of
mm,
times, and I mean, he looks at you in the eye, and he's just caring for me anyway. I felt as a
mm.
reporter, as an interviewer, but working with him must have been magnificent. You would have learnt something, I'm assuming, maybe.
Yeah, I so my character actually never shared this a screen with Sam Neill. It was so interesting. It was one of those things that was like,
I thought
because
he
I
might have
was,
been on set or with you, or
yeah, no. So actually what happened was that so the courtroom drama, I'm sure you've seen it. It's, you know,
yeah,
centered about the crime, and then they split off to the jury's lives at home. And
yeah,
so very much I just spent a lot of nuclear time with the people playing my family.
sure.
It was a masterclass to watch him, you know, on the screen.
Mm,
And also to, I think that there's a lot to be said about, you know, you're working with other actors who are in the room with him, and they're, you know,
mm,
fantastic.
mm,
Same feedback, that he was so wonderful and kind in
yep,
person. I was so overjoyed though, because I mean, the actor playing my father is also like a veteran of the screen. His name is Anthony Brendan Wong. Plug to
yeah,
some more Asian Australian talent. He was in, you know, he played the father in Family Law. He's been in the Matrix sequels, and all of that franchise. And
Anthony's great. Anthony's terrific.
he's so fantastic. He was
Yeah,
great to learn from, and he
okay,
was very very encouraging, very gentle, very guiding, both as a co-star and also kind of like, he was kind of actually just a father figure to us on set. He was so
that's so
fantastic.
good.
Yeah, and obviously like our characters were all like war with each other.
Mm,
But when the cameras went rolling, it was so wonderful. And I
mm,
remember before we shot the scene, we'd obviously never all met before, and he really went out of his way and, you know, invited us to dinner and was like, let's all kind of find out what this family's story is before
yeah,
we
yeah,
pretend to be one. And we did improvs, and we fleshed out
that's
an
good.
entire backstory to our characters, so that when we came into the room, there was a charged history there. We'd agreed on, you know,
Sure, yeah,
we had some choices, and that was really fantastic. He's an actor with a true rigorous practice.
yeah.
So that was good to learn from. Yeah.
Well, the experience of that obviously comes through with your character, and I know that not just Sam, but I know that some actors do visit sets even when they're not filming. So I thought you might have, come across him. Uh,
Mm,
that's why I was asking.
mm,
Great show. I mean,
yes.
it'll stand the test of time. I'm assuming that.
Yeah. I hope so. I hope so.
Mm,
I think it's a favorite amongst its fan base, and the
yeah.
third season's just wrapped. I would, you know, in my head I was like, well, maybe like Wendy could come back, and maybe she's learning to be a lawyer. In
The
my
return
opinion.
of Wendy, exactly.
Yeah, yeah. But of course, you know, such is the way with this industry. On to the next role, you know.
Sure,
Mhm.
sure, sure. Speaking of which, I don't want to
Mm.
keep you for too much longer. We seem like it's almost like I'm doing a life story on you, but
Oh yeah.
I'm so fascinated, and I think the world of you, Grace. So thank you
Oh,
so much
thank
for your
you, Paul.
time. Uh, Good cop, bad cop. Now that's not out
Mm.
yet. At the time of recording this, it's not out yet. It's out in 2025. It's a pretty big deal. You're
Yes.
part of it. And there are two actors. There's a lot of actors in it, but two actors in particular, obviously, Clancy Brown and Leighton
Hmm.
Meister. Uh,
Hmm.
Terrific people. But
Yeah.
firstly, is this your biggest role so far? And I mean, again, is this just a self tape and then you got the callback?
Yeah, literally just I did a tape, and then I got a call back, and then I thought, oh, maybe, you know, they were so warm and glowing, and actually John Quaintance, who created the show, in that callback said it's like seeing the character just in my head, just in front of me.
Come
And so
alive.
I was like, well, you've got to cast me now. You've just said that. And then I didn't hear for like a week, and I got antsy. And little did I know that there was kind of a phone tag happening. I was calling my agent being like, I think I just need to really know, like, is there a way that we could just like ask them, has the role moved on, and then I can move on, and da da da
Yeah.
da, you know. And she was like, okay, just leave it with me. I'm gonna chase it up, but I have a really good feeling about this. I thought, well, that's weird. She's usually very diplomatic. She doesn't say
She
anything.
probably knew, right?
She did. So
Yeah.
then I got a call, and it was like, hey, Grace. it's like an American voice. And I was like, what? Oh, hi, it's John. Oh, hi, John. How you going? Well, yeah, I'm good. I'm in LA right now, and I'm getting ready to. We're preparing to shoot Good Cop, Bad Cop in Queensland, and I just wondered, like whether you wanted to join me. And I was like, yes, absolutely, yes. It is, I would say, my biggest role to date in terms of the audience size. The CW is a US network with a quite substantial viewer
Oh
base,
yeah.
and it's definitely the most fun because it's rolling on the ground laughing. The writing is so good. I think it's gonna very quickly become a favorite. And you try not to call things too early, but I
No.
mean, I watched the first episode and I was thinking, this is really funny. Like, it's truly, yeah, I hope people love it at least as much as we love it. Yeah, yeah.
Was comedy hard? I mean, and was the process of the self-tape a comedic sort of reading, or was it not? Was it
So
straight?
yeah, I read the script for the pilot episode, and I thought this could be it could be Brooklyn Nine-Nine,
Yeah,
because of
okay.
course the one of the directors did
Sure.
direct Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and then I thought, oh gosh, it could be NCIS or like House. Like there's an occasional gag, but they're not playing the gag really hard. And I
Yeah.
thought, okay, well, it could be that, or maybe it's Parks and Rec, where it's funny, but everyone's playing it very like deadpan, like
Sure.
April and Parks and Rec. I would say there are
Yeah.
parallels between the interests of our characters. And I submitted 3 versions of the character. There was the version she was an emo goth girl, and she was played it quite straight and serious.
Yeah.
And then there was also, but still funny. And then there was the version that was like struck it in the middle, wasn't quite Brooklyn Nine-Nine, like SNL level skit
Yeah.
performance energy, but it was still playing into the comedy. And then there was full blown, like, I mean, I'm really punching the gag here, which, can be very American,
Yeah.
So there was like the British comedy version, the Australian comedy version, and then there was the American comedy version. And they ended up really resonating with the bubbly kind of fun. I
Good.
put on, I don't want to spoil it. I put on there's a fun voice to the character,
Okay.
very different to my own. And they really, I think in his head, John thought, the show's creator, that's what she sounds like. And then I did it. And so thank God that I submitted all 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really exciting.
Yeah. Well, we won't do the voice because we'll keep it a
No,
secret.
yeah, I nearly did it, but I was like, it's recording.
That's all right. Uh, and I mean, Clancy Brown, legend, Mr. Krabs, also
Yes,
in Highlander, one of my favorite movies. I don't know if you've
yes.
ever seen Highlander, but
No, but my
so-
partner's father is what I was when I was like, I'm working with Clancy Brown. He was like, oh, I know Clancy Brown. I watched Highlander when I was growing up, and that really meant something to him. Whereas I was like, Mr. Krabs, like, oh, I love SpongeBob SquarePants. Yeah, it's fun for
uh,
everyone.
yeah, and he's got a big presence about him. I mean, Shawshank Redemption, and just so many great films and
Mm,
personality that he can just has in his acting box. He can just
yeah.
pull out all these personalities.
Yes.
Uh, Promising Young Woman, actually, he's had a really small role in that, and he was terrific in that too.
Mm,
Uh,
mm.
any little side notes on about working with Clancy and how you
I
found it?
think we really got on. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, I would message him sometimes, invite him out to dinners and stuff. And we
yep.
we were kind of the only 2 on set that were really big readers. So we would just read together.
Oh, cool.
And he used to, because he's been doing it a long time. I think for me, I was like, I want to meet everyone. And for him, he was like, I'm gonna go and chill in my office, like my office, his character's office for a bit.
Yeah.
And there was one time I went in there while he was there, and we both kind of ended up doing this fun jazz karaoke thing. He loves jazz, so we would sing. What's his name? He sings like My Way. Oh, Frank Sinatra. We used to sing
Frank
like
Sinatra.
we sang some Frank Sinatra together. He's a really good singer. It was quite fun. Yeah, I really got on with Clancy. I think he's so awesome, and it was so fantastic to learn from him. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah. He's great, and I can't wait. I hope we get a second season so we can continue hanging out. So of course he's so busy. We've got to get him in the same country.
Well, that's it. I mean, hopefully there's a big event for the opening of this show, and you can all get
Mm,
back together and hang out. There's
mm.
other Aussies in there too. I want to get to Leighton, but
Yes.
Lincoln Lewis,
Oh
Nathan
yeah.
Nathan Phillips,
Yeah.
and Morgan Griffin, who I like, doesn't do a lot, unfortunately, but I do like her too. Uh, yeah, so other Aussies involved, of
I
course.
know it was kind of like the who's who. It was so fun. I mean, you'd rock up to set one day and then I'd be like, oh, I think you're the guy from Gallipoli.
Yeah, well,
You know? Or
Mark Lee, yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. He was and then or like you're there and you're like, where have I seen you? Oh, you're that dad from the Saddle Club when I used to grow up watching, and you're from High Five, and you're from, oh, okay, yeah, I remember you when I used to watch Play School, and you were you were the presenter. It was very fun. I mean, there's a few faces who are familiar to, like, Home and Away favorites,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
and also some American faces. That was it was quite exciting.
Oh
Uh,
yeah. Where, like, I mean, where was it filmed? Mostly. Like, can you the locations?
yeah, so it was
Were you on set or outside?
we filmed a lot. I personally filmed a lot in the soundstage,
Yeah.
and they built like the EVPD, the Eden Valley Police Department, in there, and there was one. Oh, I don't want to ruin things, but you would walk in one day and like there would be an entire new diner constructed or something, and then the next day it was gone and it was something else. The interior of some other, so it
So
was
good.
so exciting. Yeah, and we filmed in Village Roadshow Studios in Queensland,
Yeah.
and all around that area. Some mornings we would wake up and I'd get in the car because, of course, you're filming every day. Sometimes it's just like I know my lines. We'll rock up wherever we rock up, and
Yeah.
yeah, you get picked up at 4:30 or 5 or whatever it is, and then they'd be like, "Oh yeah, we're driving 2 hours this morning," and I go, "Oh okay, well I'm gonna have a nap in the car." So yeah, we drove. We did some filming in the hills around that
Right. Yeah.
Queensland area,
Yeah.
and like I'm going to say Mount Tambourine.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, there are a couple episodes that because it's a police procedural. There's different crime every episode.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes the surroundings were quite different and exciting. So yeah, that's what I'll say.
I can't wait. Like, it's going to be fantastic, and
Mm.
I bet you can't wait either because you're
Oh yeah.
probably bursting to tell people
Oh
more
no,
about it as
I think
well,
I've
which is
lost
good.
you. You like
Uh,
froze for a second there.
oh, I'm here now, and
Oh hi, yeah, you're
loud and
back.
clear.
You're bursting.
Good.
I heard.
All right, maybe that's a sign I should wrap this up.
Yeah.
Leighton Mister, like, she can sing. She does a really good version
Oh
of
yeah.
Betty Davis Eyes. I always liked that
Oh yeah.
version of that. But did you sing with her? Is that another one of
Oh
your
yeah, not in
secret
the
things?
show, but I mean there was one time we were in the car and we were like singing, I can't remember. Oh, I think it was Smooth Operator. We would just say Smooth Operator. We didn't think anyone could hear us in like,
Yeah.
just a groupie or something. And then you just saw all the sound people turn around slowly. They're doing a take and they're like, you guys are being really loud. Yeah, I love Leighton. We also got to hang out a lot. It's such a blessing when, you become a little family and you all kind of hang out together. And yeah, yeah, she was so fun. We had a couple of definite like song fun things. We do bits together. I think that comedy lends itself to that,
Yeah.
though.
Oh, yeah.
You're playing on set, you're making each other laugh, and so someone's bound to break into song. There's someone that we're all theatre people, we're all
Yeah,
screen
yeah.
people.
She's a great singer. I mean, I
Mm.
also remember people remember a lot of her TV, but Monte Carlo was good too. Her
Oh,
and
I grew up watching. I loved it. I remember her.
Selena Gomez
Yeah,
as
I
well.
was
Like,
like, keep it cool. Don't mention Monte Carlo. And then I absolutely didn't. I met her and I was like, I loved Monte Carlo. I grew up watching that show, and you know, my sister, before I came and did this gig, watched it as a comfort watch. She
Oh,
just
okay.
likes to watch it every now and then because it reminds her of her teenage years. And yeah, oh, so fun. I remember one day on set, because of course for my generation it was Good Girls Go Bad. It really had a moment, that track.
Okay.
And
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, and she's like sitting in the back of this car and she's singing this song. And yeah, people every time I'm like, oh, I was working late in Meester, either the response will be, I loved her in Gossip Girl. Blair
Yeah.
Waldorf is iconic, or it'll be, yeah, she's that girl from Good Girls Go Bad. We love that song, and they start singing it. Yeah, it was quite fun.
All right. To wrap it up,
Mm,
just what occupation do you reckon you'd be doing, Grace, if you weren't an actor, performer,
mm,
writer, all those hats that you wear? Is there
mm.
something that you love that you think you could be good at, or is there another occupation you reckon you might be doing?
I'm someone, even in my acting practice, who chases variety. So I think that I would have ended up doing a lot of different things. But I remember the year that the month that I was accepted into drama school, I was also accepted into law. I had it in my head that I really wanted to do law. And I remember going into that interview. So I think
Yeah.
I auditioned for Whopper and I just had a good feeling. And so then I went into the interview for this law program I was entering into, and I was like, you know what? Treat it like an acting audition. And I went in and I was like, I'm going to act like I am someone who really wants to do this. um, and it ended up being this really fun exercise. And that, you know, they accepted me into that program. But I do wonder sometimes, like, whether I would have kept on going with that. I mean, you never
Mm.
truly know until you live that reality, right? Whether or not it's something that you enjoy. But
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
yeah, I think law is a lot of reading. And I'm very lucky that in my life I now get to do a lot of writing, which is the opposite process, right? It's like reading is like putting something in, and writing is like expressing yourself and putting something out. So I think that in the end, this is like, yeah, this is the dream. So uh, really excited for what's
Cool.
ahead. And who knows though? Maybe one day I'll be like. I've always thought about maybe having like a little restaurant though.
Okay.
Maybe I'll do that one day as well. Who knows?
Can you cook? Do you cook for yourself, or have you got a specialty dish?
I do love cooking. I love a hot pot. That actually doesn't take a
Ah,
lot
yes.
of effort, but yeah, Chinese people love hot pot. And you know, we all really, really, yeah.
It's a,
Everyone in my life is invited to a hot pot at some point.
even in summer, in the middle of the hot heat wave,
Yeah, well,
you'll have a
exactly.
hot pot.
We were talking about this before. It was 38 degrees yesterday in
Yeah.
WA, and I decided to go out and get a hot pot with a friend. Yeah. Yeah, we paid for it though in sweat. It was hot. Yeah.
I know I said I was going to wrap it up, but this can be the final question. Are you
Mm.
writing diaries? Are you keeping notes on sets when you work? Are you putting together some kind of maybe biography down the track? Are
Mm.
you doing anything like that? Because being a writer, I thought maybe an instinct was to just take notes on a daily basis in
Mm.
some kind of diary form.
I am a journaler. I tend to only journal when I have something that I really want to think through or work through, but occasionally I'll journal when I feel like I'm on the precipice of a change
Yep.
in seasons. And so I would love to write a biography one day. I mean, it's uh I have quite an interesting life outside of my acting. I had a really interesting upbringing, you know, and my early art reflects this. I'll just drop a seed here. At one point in my life, when I was younger, I was encouraged to be an exorcist, and I was part of. So I think that world, that colorful world, has now informed my practice and my desire to tell like stories. These really like fun about people who live these really colorful lives. So I myself have lived a very colorful life, and I've met very colorful people. So yeah, I love playing colorful people, and I love telling colorful stories. And one day I will tell my own.
Well,
Yeah.
you're a great person. You're a great storyteller, and you
You
had
as
me.
well, Shane.
You're very welcome, and I loved spending time with you and getting to
Yeah.
know you more. I felt like I knew you already, but I'm getting to know you more, and you had me at Exorcist. I mean, come
That's
on.
right. Yeah, sell the
I
book
love
before
horror
I've
movies.
written it.
Only this morning I went and saw Heretic again
Mm.
with Hugh Grant. I had